I have to address something publicly because I'm having to address it privately far too often. Every single week in my office, I have to handle this topic. And so we are going to address this publicly because there is a massive amount of medical misinformation that is being believed about this topic, and I need to try to help set this straight. So I brought with me a visual aid. We are going to figure out what the heck we're going to do with cholesterol and with salt. Because you have been taught that cholesterol causes heart disease and salt causes high blood pressure. These two things not only are not true, they are the opposite of the truth. Salt actually lowers your blood pressure, and cholesterol prevents heart disease. I'm going to try to use my visual aids and talk calmly and explain to you why that is the case. But the opposite of the truth is the most dangerous lie. Cholesterol is a building block. You make stuff out of it. A lot of important things. And depending on the shape and the size of the molecule, it will have a different function inside the body. Your body does not make bad cholesterol. An LDL, which is what they call your bad cholesterol, blaming that for heart disease is like blaming a Band-Aid for a cut. It may be at the scene of the crime, but it did not cause the problem. So, cholesterol, the building block. What else does it make? It makes vitamin D, it makes CoQ10, it makes testosterone, estradiol, progesterone. You build all of these things out of cholesterol, out of the backbone of this fatty acid. Not to mention all of the lipid membranes in your cells in your body, not to mention all of the fat that your brain needs to function, all of cholesterol. And you've been told you gotta keep your cholesterol below 200. You gotta get your LDL below 99. You know, I always find that one really funny. I read blood work every week in my office, and reference ranges are interesting. Do you know that life insurance reference ranges for cholesterol are different than the hospitals? What's going on there? Life insurance wants your cholesterol significantly higher than the reference ranges at the hospital. At the hospital, a normal LDL could be 0 to 99. You are dead, man, if you have 0 LDL. That does not make any sense. And the people left holding the bag, if you die and have to pay out, they want your LDL level, I've seen, up to 140. They know something. And it doesn't sound like the hospital knows something. So, cholesterol is not bad for you and does not cause heart disease. And I'll tell you how I know. Other than all of the studies that I read and listened to a whole bunch of cardiologists with MD after their name. The United States is 4% of the population. We consume 60% of the pharmaceutical drugs. 4% consumes 60%. And the pharmaceutical industry sold 1 billion prescriptions of statin drugs last year. 1 billion. This is a $1 trillion industry. If the United States consumes the bulk of that billions of statins of drugs and cholesterol causes heart disease, how are we doing on heart disease? Did we solve it? Did we fix heart disease? No. Almost 1 million people died last year of heart disease. How could that be if we all here in America have the lowest amounts of cholesterol, of this lovely building block? Also, at the same time that we've taken all of these statin drugs, how are we doing on Alzheimer's? What's the stats on those? Are we doing pretty good there? Was taking fat away from the brain a good idea? Salt causes heart attacks and high blood pressure. Well, you know how I know that ain't true. Aside from the studies that I read. Grandpa has a heart attack, and you call 911, and EMS shows up. What's the first thing they do after they get him in the ambulance? Bag of saline, right in the arm, right in the blood vessel. What is saline? It's salt. It's 10,000 milligrams of salt. And if you have a long drive to the hospital, they're probably going to give you 2. How in the world, why in the world would we do such a thing if salt causes high blood pressure and heart attacks? Salt's the treatment for heart attacks. Cholesterol's the building blocks of life. You've been told incorrect things to sell you drugs. I'm not blaming you. I used to believe that cholesterol caused heart disease because that's what I learned in school. And I think that's what your doctor learned in school. But at what point are we going to look at the outcomes of our health and go, well, maybe we got this wrong? That's one of my biggest beefs with physicians. At what point do you start looking at the quality of your work and your outcomes and wonder whether or not what you're doing is working? It's very frustrating. I don't think they're bad people, but there's a lot going on there. So, for heaven's sake, salt your food. And please, do not lower your cholesterol. I want you to eat more fat. And of course, there are exceptions. And I'm not talking about those exceptions. But my guess is most of you have way too low of cholesterol. And you cannot build the building blocks of life that you need.